My name is Landry Crawford, and I have a passion for Jesus, art, the elderly, and learning about history from the source. My goals are to share the Word of God and to share history from those who helped create it. Welcome to His Story. Welcome back, everybody, to His Story. Today, we have a special guest on, our first female veteran. Her name is Kimberly Moyers, and I am kind of embarrassed to have to explain this to some people, but his story is his story as in Jesus Christ's story, and history as in veterans' history, which is man and women. Because they both help make history. So I just had to clear that up for some people. But anyways, her story is absolutely amazing, and I deserve that. Everyone deserves to hear it. She's a great veteran, and from what I've learned, she's been through a lot. Funny thing is, I tried to Google her, and hardly anything comes up about her. I think that's because there's a lot of censorship going on. And they just don't want people like her and her story getting out there. But I'm trying to, help get her story out there. Kimberly Moyers is a veteran who served in the Navy, and she was heavily abused during her service by the VA and by doctors. She's been through trial after trial, and I'm so glad that everyone gets to hear this. Let's see. Remember to go by HisStory.com. And also, each veteran that comes on the show gets a free t-shirt. Just going to send it out to them. And if you want a t-shirt as well, you can go by HisStory.com, HisStory.com, and donate a minimum of $25. You can also see our podcasts, and you can contact me through my website. I would also like to remind everyone that Veterans Day is coming up. It is the 11th, I believe. And we have all of these stupid days, I actually have to read them. They're real days, by the way. It's National Neck Care Day, National Nothing Day, and National Personal Space Day. We have days like those. People don't even know what personal space is. How can you celebrate a day like that if you don't even know what personal space is? But we have Veterans Day, which is an actual holiday where we honor veterans who have served, those who have passed, and those who are still serving. It's a genuine holiday, and it is to honor those people. And I believe that that's a day we should actually celebrate because it's worth celebrating. Before we bring on our guest, I'd like to take our first break to show you how to find the Street Talk Network information. Remember that we are an independent channel, and everything that you like, if you share or like, it makes a difference. It does. What makes Street Talk now different from Street Talk Network, different from the rest of everybody else is, Stiletto is doing this for free, or not for free. It's for free for you, but it's not free for her. She has to pay, and she's letting me do it for free. I've got my own podcast for free because she's helping me. She's a great person, and everything she does is for God. And she's always trying to get information out to everybody. And she's just such a wonderful person. And I can't thank her enough for everything she's done for me, to help people like you and me get knowledge and information out. And she's just a great person all around. And I'm so glad that I know her. So you could go check out her page, her donation site, and we'll see you right after the break.
Reach, keep on reaching. I keep reaching. I'm wishing we could live in peace. It's really not that hard. I'm wishing we won't hesitate from making leaps and bounds.
Okay, so let's bring on Kimberly now. Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on. So before we get right into, the big parts of your story, let's give the viewers a baseline information. So when all this started, when did you join the military?
I joined the military in September 2010.
Okay.
I served under Obama, which was very difficult, I'll say.
What branch did you join, and what was your rank?
I was an E4, and I joined the greatest Navy in the world.
Yeah. Okay. So, what's I don't know what E4 is, but could you explain that to me?
So
I've never
I
heard
was
of
a petty officer in the United States Navy.
Okay. Okay.
So got
So
rank. It's very confusing between the branches too.
yeah. When you went into the Navy, we spoke prior that you had your first injury. Could you tell me, because that's kind of where I feel like all of this started. Is that with your first
It
injury?
did. It snowballed. There's something wrong with military medicine, and I think that's why we have good bills like the Joey Lentz Act, that's making into the National Defense Authorization Act. And under Obama, it's like they got rid of military medical and they made it to where civilians could come in, but it was not the most qualified civilians because of the Second Chance Act. So I had broken my ankle, and it was not treated properly. And over the course of time, I kept breaking my ankle, and I just was not getting fixed. So it led to several other injuries because I could not get this one leg fixed. That I ended up putting on the weight on my other one, and then I had a hangar bay accident, and it just took out everything, including my right shoulder. So it was pretty intense.
You broke your ankle. Did you report it? I mean, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I did. It was hilarious because I was actually at PT training. It was kind of funny. So we're doing these things called fartlek sprints, and it was in Florida. In Florida, it doesn't freeze, right? It's not supposed to, but it was frozen. The training grounds were frozen that morning, and we didn't have that many females in the Navy, and so the Marine Corps is a department of the Navy. So I actually went to a Marine Corps class when I was there. So I actually had to train with Marines, and which I had a blast. I'm telling you right now, our Marine Corps, I wish our Navy could PT like our Marine Corps, because of how fun it is. It's hilarious. So we went to I remember I just slid into this hole, and they're supposed to keep the grounds up to par at all times. And it was stuck with all of this loose grass and water and ice. And my leg went in. I'm sprinting as fast as I can. And then my body kept going. And all you heard was snap. And I remember I rolled, got back up, and then I laid down and I talked to Staff Sergeant Rudolph. I was like, I think I broke my ankle. She goes, oh, few choice words, and that thing go off the building. And that was my first instance with the Department of Veteran Affairs. Our clinics weren't open, and as active duty, I went to the Department of Veteran Affairs. Nothing was wrong. And once I made it back to the military side, they just automatically believed the Department of Veteran Affairs.
So you went to the VA and they were like, no, nothing's wrong. Just walk it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then and then when I transferred to my another command, they like, did you know your ankle is broken? And then he turned the computer toward me, and I was missing a huge chunk of my bone actually out of my leg. So,
how did it get out of your leg?
I had ripped the ligament completely out of the leg, and then they could not find the ligament anymore. It just deteriorated. So
He said, "Did you know your ankle was broken?"
yeah, he just said,
Oh, you didn't know your ankle was
I
broken.
kind of freaking figured. I mean, I'm not. When I walked, I couldn't. I couldn't stand up. I was constantly looking like I was drunk everywhere. I mean, I know that it's a good play to insert here, drunken sailor music right here, but no, it wasn't great.
So you were walking on your broken ankle, and they were like, "No, nothing's fine. It's fine. Just nah." So when you went to the doctor and finally got it checked out, what happened after that? They realized that it was broken, obviously.
I went to so I came back and I told my command. I had to report to my command. I'm like, my ankle's broken, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Because there is this mentality that is in the military of malingering, a fake injury, especially with women. And I get it. Some of it is duly should be there. But you were looked down on if you had to go to medical, but I had no choice. It was literally broken. So I went back to my flight surgeon. My flight surgeon put me in, and he's like, "You need to go get this done now." And so I had to go to a different base at NAS Jax. And when I get there, I remember I talked to the surgeon comes out, and he's just done surgery. And you see a line of us in gurneys just waiting to go in. And they put me in there as acute. I didn't know what acute was. I haven't broken a bone like this before. So I was like, oh, a acute bone. What is it? Put a bow on it, And so I was like, when I get in there, he threw the clipboard at me and he said, "This isn't an acute injury. This is an old injury." And then I got cussed out right then and there. Like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Sorry, you guys, but that's just how it was.
It's okay.
I was like, "Doc, I got nothing to tell you. I was just following orders at this point."
Why was he mad at you? You're not the one that denied yourself treatment.
I was just like, you just follow the orders, right? And
yeah,
he got really angry about it. Apparently, I wasn't supposed to be transferred there to this command, and I didn't know. I guess I didn't know the mills per man as I do now. And then the next thing I know, he's I called my dad real quick. He said, "You do get a second option when you're in the military. Don't go to that jerk." So I said, I drive a stick shift, Doc, and I drove here. So I'm going to go take my car back to my command, and I'm going to go talk to my command. And he was just so angry. So I went and talked to AT1. I was like, "So I have a very angry surgeon here." And I'm very uncomfortable. And I didn't know what acute meant, but apparently it's not something you dress up with the bow.
So no.
And I remember AT1's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't go to that surgeon either." That sounds like really weird. So we had, and then at that time, like Operation Tomodachi kicked off. My parent command had sent for me to come back to transfer to San Diego because I was at a TAD command. And so I drove all the way from Maple, Florida to San Diego with a broken leg, with a broken ankle.
My gosh.
And it got worse because during the minute of that, the middle of that was the government shutdown. And so I didn't get paid too much on travel pay on that.
So I'm guessing it was difficult, not just with the broken ankle.
Because you have to make it to your command or you miss movement, and that's a charged offense. But with what money? I'm supposed to have travel pay, and I didn't have that travel pay. So I actually had to hit up my parents so I could make it up to my command. And I never got that travel pay for that.
So how long did it take for you to get your first surgery?
Over 9 months. And when they did the surgery, they did it wrong. The scars on the wrong side. And I didn't find out till later it was a student that did the surgery.
So I know that military and civil medical response is different, but having a surgery gone wrong and like done by a student, shouldn't you have a say in that? And shouldn't
No,
those
you
people be
don't.
held accountable?
So you don't get to, like, when you sign up for the military, you can't sue the military for their medical. You just can't. Your parent can, but you cannot. And you don't know these things until you're in the thick of it. And giving that administration accountability, I don't even think they knew what that word was.
No.
So, like, all I did was I put in congressional inquiries, government inquiries. I had letters back from K. Bailey Hutchinson, and all it is was Navy Medical blaming the command, and the command blaming Navy Medical. And then
nobody wants to be held accountable for this.
That's still a big part of what's wrong with our military today, and that's why I really like HECSEP. Is, even with like military sexual trauma today,
there's a lot of that, especially here in Texas,
command doesn't want to get in trouble, so what they do is they will protect the command and screw the sailor, and that's a big problem that leads when that sailor or soldier, airman, marine gets out. The highest form of suicide was in that first year. They're completely destabilized. And then if you have something like a military sexual trauma or, like injuries that have been covered up by the command, it makes it very, very hard for that individual to make it through. And that's why the suicide rates are so high. It's not 22 a day, it's 44 a day. It's Duke University and University of Alabama that has that true study.
Yeah. I think, would you agree that it's because of lack of God in people's lives?
Oh, absolutely. I will say that. I remember telling myself God walks before me in all things. I left the military in a wheelchair because of the snowballing effects of all the injuries that were not taken care of. It took 7 years for one of those breaks to heal. And, losing the ability, because I used to do like triathlons before I joined the military, losing that ability to just depend. I mean, I had some great shipmates and great Marines that literally took care of me and helped me for a long time. And if I didn't have that, I don't know where I'd be today. And I think God really provided that.
Yeah. God works in great ways. So I have some pictures that I wanted to show, and I wanted you to have us tell a little bit about. So Chris, could you put up pic 1, please? So tell us a little bit about this.
That is my A school class. So we got into some shenanigans there. I do believe one of the Marines has passed away. I have heard of that. His name is Campos. I have Harrison, I still talk to. Lacey Haig down at the bottom, squatting there in the blue uniform. She's still my buddy. She had a lot of military sexual trauma, from what I've understood. A few of those people, I know the guy on the right ended up becoming an officer. But a lot of them are currently out of the military, and it's just the Marines aren't really with us anymore. A lot of them.
Well, I mean, at least you got to meet those people, yeah?
Oh, yeah, they're absolutely. I still talk to Haig all the time. She's my buddy.
I have another picture. These two, they're kind of back to back, but you also talk about this one, and it's pic 2, Chris?
Yeah, that was one of the legs. That's the VA didn't do things properly with that. So it got a staph infection on top of the scar there. And it was absolutely very painful. And when I went in for this particular day, I went in because the pain meds weren't working. And this surgery was worse than open surgery. And they put in the nerve block. The VA actually put it in with a cracked tube. And so I didn't have a proper nerve block. And so then because of their fault on that, I was accused of being a drug addict because I was drug seeking. which I wasn't drug seeking. That really hurt. So
Oh my gosh.
it was a nightmare. But during that was the wait time scandal. So I had to wait. Once I got out, I had to wait a year for that appointment. And then I had to wait another 6 months to get that surgery. So a whole year and a half.
Oh my god.
Just
So
waiting.
after your first surgery, the one with the medical student, what did you do after that? They did it wrong.
Well, it's like I didn't know it was wrong, so I went back to command. I was part of Operation Radcon, radiation contamination from the Operation Tomodachi, which is the Fukushima incident, and that's where the government lied to everybody. And now you're hearing it with the shrimp. The shrimp is radiated. We were just like sitting here. I remember when that came up, that lawsuit, I just died laughing. I was like, yeah, I've known about that for like 10 years. We have ships that are still radiated out there. And we have lawsuits come out about it. And the American people don't know how bad Fukushima really was, because Japan actually lied about the radiation levels. And now our food is contaminated. If we could look at our cancer rates, how they're going up. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm going to eat some Gulf shrimp before I ever go to Pacific. I'm just so shocked that people.
Yeah, you won't catch me eating sushi. Not from there.
I'm Japanese American. That's a hard one. I felt that.
I like sushi, just not radiation sushi.
No, I don't think so.
So you had your first injury and all of that happened. You told me that you injured it again, right? But it was like a forklift injury, or was it a different one?
That was hilarious. So I did injure it again. I had snapped the bone again because I was what it's called temporary assigned duty, TAD. I was assigned somewhere, and I went over because they were doing something for 4th of July. And the Midway is a museum ship, and they sent me over there to do some wiring, and I jumped down and boom, snapped my ankle right again.
Oh,
and then,
I don't like the sound of bones breaking.
Yeah, it was real bad. And then, I was still kind of fit for full duty. And again, when I broke it again, I remember they took me up to the hospital, and they wouldn't admit it was broken. They were saying, well, we need a radiologist to read this. And I'm like, I'm looking at it right there. That's fucking broken.
Yeah. When I had broken my leg once when I was 12 on Christmas Day, and I heard it snap, and I was like screaming at the top of my lungs. I was like, this is broken. And my mom runs out. She puts her hand over my leg. She's like, this is broken. But you have to have a radiologist to figure out if something's broken?
That's where we talk about the red tape. And where it gets in the way of common sense, and it's because of that it creates delays in care. And you actually have I would say I'm not combat, but you have combat injured that I saw when I was in C5 combat casualty care, because I was so messed up they had to move me there. And I saw talking about that they would they put all the physical therapy tables together, and it was about as bad as moving corn in a wheelbarrow. They would just sit there and dump us, like 20 of us, all on this table, and then just check us out like a number. You just felt like a piece of meat. And this is in no one knows about this because of the basement and all that stuff. And then you got these guys coming back from Rammstein and everything, and it was just, that's all I can say about that.
People being treated like they're not human.
We weren't human. We were just pieces of meat. And it was just like, take a number, and and then we all go out to smoke pick afterwards, and we talk about what the fuck we just went through, and it's just like we just laugh about it because it was just so horrible. And then that's how America takes kindness, but you have Canada coming down and praising our system. And you had right now it's like we're treating Ukrainians. I don't know if y'all know that. We are treating Ukrainians at our military hospitals. But we
are?
Yes, we are. Yeah, go look it up.
Oh.
Pretty pissed about that.
What?
Yeah.
We should be treating our own people first.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. We treated them
so not right.
Yeah, we treated illegals too on those bases.
Yeah, we give them homes and money, and they can't even speak English.
No.
How do they get cars and they drive down the road, but they can't read the road signs because it's in English.
I don't even want to know, especially the crashing right now. But no common sense. There's no common sense.
No, not anymore. It's rare. So you went to physical therapy. That's where they treated you like inhumanely. When did you get your next surgery? Because you told me that you
I did not get my
surgery.
next surgery until I was out of the military. I went through med board, and in that med board was gosh, it's so funny. God's funny. It has a good sense of humor. It's like I got what's something called PTS approved, which is like you're performed to serve, that you are an exceptional sailor, so you get to re-enlist. The day that I got retired, my retirement letter, my med retired letter, the day I got PTS approved. And I remember going up to the career counselor. I was mad as heck. I was like, I don't want to talk to you guys right now, but y'all got to figure this out. I'm just not. I'm checked out with this one. And then I remember the officer looking at me. She's like, "That's fair. That's very fair." I wanted to stay in, but I didn't realize at the time. So it's like the more you fight to stay in, the more the reason the government says, "Oh, there's something wrong here. Let's kick you out." And it was heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. I got to sit there and watch a pilot with a prosthetic leg go out there and fight and be the best, ultraviolet war force on the planet. And I'm sitting here like, how come he gets to stay in and I don't? I want to stay in too.
Even after everything that happened?
Yeah, I would have done it again. Here's the thing is that it was me and it was another, two other first class petty officers. And we got so mad at the way that we were treated. We actually petitioned Congress. And I remember 2 years, and we made such a stink about it that 2 years after we got out, Wounded Warrior Safe Harbor was created. So that wasn't my first rodeo dealing with the government. I knew how to use my government. I know that it's frowned upon, but just because you join the military, you get extra rules, but none of those previous rules of your American citizenship goes away. You just get UCMJ put on you.
Yeah. That's just, I have another picture though, which I think this one kind of ties in better to what we were previously talking about with your leg injury. This one's my least favorite out of all of them. So Chris, could you put up pic 3, please?
Yeah. So the top one is what they did wrong. The scar is supposed to be at the bottom. And because it was both of my legs that were hit pretty bad. And that's what it looked like after that surgery. So that's after the 5 rods were installed.
That, I don't like that. That looks not good.
It hurt. I'm telling you right now. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, that just, I didn't like breaking a leg. I would not like going what you went through. You are stronger than I am, I'll tell you that. A lot. I'd be crying like a baby.
I did not. I'm letting you know, I was not composed whatsoever. It hurt. And they couldn't get, and the VA just could not get, because like it's right during the opioid crisis. So as well, because I don't know if y'all know this, but there was a Newsweek article put out in 2017 is that the VA caused the opioid pandemic in our country. They did. And so what they did was sit there and tell everybody you can't have opiates anymore or you're a drug addict. And I was like caught in the middle of that. And I'm like, I just had surgery. What? So it was trying to figure out the meds that I could do, but because we didn't treat things properly or handle it in a professional medical way, you know, I got nerve damage because they waited for so long, you know, the neuropathy, the CRPS. It was just what they did is just not excusable, but there's no way to sue the VA. You have to ask them permission. And they're like, you're going to go, okay, yeah, you can do that. No.
Can I sue you? No, you can't sue me.
No. And, you know, and it should really bother civilians, because if you look at 70% of all of our medical, 70 to 90% is actually trained by the Department of Veteran Affairs. So if the reason your medical sucks is because the VA sucks.
Yeah.
And the thing is you've got these leftist lunatics like AOC saying the VA is so good that we should just make it a socialist system and give it to everybody. Y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want it.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I did not know that the nurses were trained by the VA. I thought that was totally separate.
Every Department of Veteran Affairs is a college campus. So that's what it is.
That makes sense.
You go in and you learn all this stuff, and then that's how they get all this. I'll say this: VA research, medical research is good, but it's also very dangerous. Very dangerous. We all know, you know, medical research goes in the government. Like,
yeah. So they know what vaccines to make and how it won't cure you.
I had this one doctor, and it's a USA Today article. It was out in La Jolla. It was my gastroenterology doctor, and he was actually put in Leavenworth because he sat there and was taking samples of our stomachs and stuff and doing experiments on them. And I was one of the.
I don't like that.
No.
Did you know that they were doing that?
Well, I kind of figured it out when he wouldn't knock me out, and then he put the tube down my throat, and he was trying to test how bad my pain tolerance was. And then we kind of got a little violent on that. And then my Marine buddy was there, and I had so much blood in my mouth. And yeah, and I couldn't believe what happened. And then my husband, he brought me an article about 3 years later, and he said, look, that's your doctor. He went to jail for that. It's like, finally.
Yeah, it only took you and multiple other people after.
Yeah, but the thing is that they have to kill or hurt so many people for anything to happen, because you can't fire a government employee. Yeah. And, you know, that's why I'm not very happy with this administration either, with Doug Gollins. He's a really nice guy. Very nice guy. He's not going to fire anybody. I think. And the thing is that these people that are in power within the Department of Veteran Affairs have killed hundreds of veterans.
Yeah. It's that's insane that so many people have to be hurt for something to happen. If one person gets hurt, you should be held accountable to that, because that's still a person.
There was an actual serial killer right during the pandemic. No one heard about it. Her name was Retta Mays. She killed over 20 veterans with an overdose of insulin. But the thing is, if you look at the Office Inspector General report, there's over 70 veterans that just mysteriously passed away. It's at that level, and that's how much they hide things. And we've seen that. I mean, are with you and what y'all have done. Y'all. Is
it really a mystery at this point?
No.
No.
We're not surprised anymore.
No, just something needed to happen a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's just,
but I don't see that accountability coming right now. I just don't. It's not. It's come on now. Let's go.
Yeah. I just, it surprises me. Like, not just in the medical system or in the military. It's like everything in general. No one wants to take responsibility for anything at all. And it's, even if it's something small, I don't get it. People need to be held accountable, and nobody wants to, because everybody is doing something bad. Not everybody, but people in power, they're doing bad stuff.
Well, you got these people in power with the nefarious plots But then you have the average government employee. They're dumb. They really are. I know, I work for the government. I ain't that smart.
They're just chess pieces.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We're going to sit there and have 18-year-olds pull and push $1 million aircraft. That sounds really smart. Then we're going to complain that, that a sergeant or higher can't fly a drone when they have more experience than someone from Canoe U. Makes no sense.
There are so many things that I could use to describe it, but I probably owe the swear jar $100.
I live in that swear jar, honey.
You and Stiletto both. Stiletto's not good with it either.
No, I am a mother. I am trying, but that sailor just creeps in sometimes.
That's what my mom says. So let's take another quick break. Our last one for the night, so we can keep talking after this, and we'll find Street Talk Network's donation page. It's streettalknow.com. You can buy original gear and music and PDF, and if you need healing therapies from Light Dove Ministries, you can use your Street Talk promo code, all caps, for 15% off all products. You can print out documents, protocol kills that could save your life, and we'll be right back.
Send me an angel, won't you send me a sign? Send me a message, watch it fall from the sky. Well, spirit surrounds me, I'm feeling fine. Let's come together now. Hey, Jesus, my Lord, everybody's fighting about God. Hail Mary, Holy Spirit, I need you, can you hear it? Hey, Jesus, my Lord, they're all fighting, my God. If I respect the way they pray, then they respect the way I pray. Hey, Jesus, hey, Jesus, hey, Jesus, hey, Jesus.
Now that we're back, I wanted to try and line us up a little bit with your story some more. I wanted to bring up the time period when COVID hit and, what all you went through during the pandemic and after. You told me about how you got pregnant and your difficulties with that. So could you start us off by telling us a little bit about that?
So during COVID, if you sit there and you notice that we shifted to a state of emergency, whenever there's a state of emergency, the VA will actually shift to there's 5 missions of the VA. And the VA shifted to mission 4, which put the VA under Mayorkas. And we all know how great that worked out. So we were sitting there treating, we were denied all, I would say, emergency care. So if it wasn't what the government felt as necessity, they weren't going to give it. But the women's care has always been bad at the VA. There is no labor and delivery at any VA. And so what we're supposed to have is something in community care, which is Mission Act. But we were under Biden under that time. So you think we were going to get Mission Act? Heck no. They started shutting down everything. So I went to the VA, and of course, they wouldn't let me into one of the main areas because there were all men there. So everything we did was in the porta potty right there. And that's the treatment I got. I was like, dude, this is like third world here, or not even third world. A porta potty. That's all I got. So I had a velamentous cord, 2 fibroid tumors, and I was over the age of 35. So I was already a high risk. And then with my injuries with my hip, and when I did my leg surgeries, it kind of twisted my back. Not kind of, did. And so things aren't setting right in my spine anymore. And my hips are all cattywampus. So
so you were pregnant, and it was already a high-risk pregnancy. You were getting treatment out of a porta potty.
A porta potty. That's what they thought was the best thing to do, believe it or not. I don't know.
So the Biden administration's like, you're pregnant, We'll give you a porta potty. 2 million to Ukraine right now.
And so so they wouldn't give me an OBGYN, and because we looked on the community care website, on the VA website, I had a list of doctors. Well, none of those doctors existed. They were actual teachers. So we would send it off to the hospitals or these other places, and turns out that those phone numbers didn't exist. So they're sending my social security number to God knows wherever. And so at that point, I can, as a 100% service connected veteran, I could use the ER. So what the plan is to use the ER. And then during that time, they decided to red flag me and put a behavioral red flag and call me almost dang near a terrorist. If you look at the patient record flag manual, it was also designed by Comey to make prevention a reality, to prevent us from turning on our government. And so they put these red flags on us and notate us as threats to our country. I am not having that. I have literally bled in my uniform. No, that's not happening. And so I had some really good civilians, doctors, step up and deliver my kid. And even the VA tried to get involved with that too. A nurse had contacted the VA and said that, so the VA told that nurse that I'm a red flag, that I'm a risk and all this stuff. Freaking nurse believed it. So she wrote this crazy story on my medical records and contacted the heads of the hospital. The heads of the hospital didn't want me to leave. I didn't have the proper medication for interest. So I did C-section without pain meds. That sucks. Just letting you know. C-section without pain meds.
When you went into labor, did you know you had gone into labor?
No, I did not.
Oh my God.
I have such a high pain tolerance. Like I was there that night because I couldn't go to the restroom. That's the only reason I ended up at the ER that night. And I was like, it's been 3 days. I don't really feel good. I feel like something's blocked, and I feel like it's my gastroparesis kicking in. And he said it probably is because of the way the baby's sitting on your back, that's damaged in your back. So I went to the restroom. I'm like, good, we're ready to go. He's like, I'm here. I think you're in labor.
Oh my gosh.
I was dilated. He said 10 centimeters.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, so I guess I was like, so what does that mean? And he's like, well, the baby's coming. And then one of my tests came back, and then I had cholestasis. So I only had 24 hours to deliver Beatrice, or she was dead.
Oh.
So we went in, got her out right away. The VA got involved. They wouldn't let me take my kid home. They wouldn't even let me hold my kid for 36 hours. They wouldn't bring me my kid until, because after I had delivery, my OBGYN went home. He was a real nice guy. And then when he came back, she's like, she hadn't seen the baby yet. And then he got mad because he's like, listen, the VA sucks. And then freaking Jan and 2 other nurses came in, and they were like, yeah, the VA sucks. Let her have her kid. Don't believe anything that she said. And the nurse that eventually put in that report actually contacted CPS.
Oh my God. Wait, was that while you were pregnant?
I was pregnant. She called.
Oh my gosh.
And everything, and said that I was a threat to my child because the VA told her I was red flagged. So at that point, I'm sitting there like going, veteran, you're going to give me my kid or else. And then I get it was a God thing because it was crazy. Miss Jan, her husband was a Marine. The other nurse, her husband was a Marine. They called their husbands, and they're like, I've got this chick here, the VA. And then the husbands are like, yeah, fuck the VA. Listen to that sailor. She's telling the truth because no one has kids at the VA. And so they came over, and they took my side against the hospital. And I got my kid out of there. And then a week and a half later, CPS shows up at my door demanding my kid. And, I'm Texan. I believe in the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Same here, Ruby Ridge, my front yard. I remember she walked up. I said, get off my lawn. You are now trespassing for a chance to say anything. And then she came back, and when she came on my door, she just knocked on my door again, and she was banging on it. And then I just wrapped mail, and I was like, "Get off my lawn!" And then screamed, ran back to her car, and then Harris County showed up.
Oh, Harris County.
Harris County
She barreled a gun. She ran.
Yeah, Harris County looked at it, and they're like, "You put in a CPS claim while she's pregnant? What are they going to do? Cut the baby out of me?" He's like, "You have CPSs for children, not for kids in the womb. She hasn't had time to even do anything yet with the kid."
You're beating your kid while it wasn't even out.
So the nurse got fired from the hospital that put in that claim. And then the two women at the VA, they were supposed to be fired, but I found out they moved them to different jobs within the VA. And then Dr. John Tester, he got involved. They went ahead and said, "I'm sorry, we paid for all my bills." And then, because I didn't have the care that I needed during the whole time, Beatrice went after my teeth. She took all my teeth, just started being real chalky. So I needed to get to dental. And when I got to dental a year later, that's where the VA had me falsely arrested. I went to jail for, I guess the magic number is 36 hours. And the federal police report didn't match the state police report. And everything was completely wrong with that police report. Here's my kid. Here she is. Sorry guys, impromptu started.
It's okay.
So I went to jail, and then we fought our cases. We went in state court, we went in federal court, and then I went to Congress with it. And Morgan Luttrell, he did take it up to Congress, and he did. Tommy Tuberville literally got up on the Senate floor. He's like, "You're arresting veterans." This is not okay. And then I worked for about 4 years, and that's where I met your mom, is getting my own bill written and passed in the state legislature.
That's amazing. So for people who don't know, what does this, for like the average person who might not know, what is this bill going to do for veterans?
So there's 1.4 million veterans in this red flagging situation. Whenever the government doesn't like you, or you want to hold them accountable, we've seen they just red flag you. They call you a terrorist. They've done it to Margie Taylor Greene. They've done it to General Flynn. And we've seen it gone on even with Ken Paxton. That's what this is. It's when the government, when you don't do something they like, the FBI, NICS, or anything, they'll come after your gun rights. Now, if they come after your gun rights, that means you can't have kids. Okay? You're a mental defect. Their whole goal was to take away my kid. And I knew that. So, and I've had several attorneys help me out throughout the country. I even had Brian Talley, the author of the Talley Bill, help me out. He's become a very close friend. Jamison Ellis helped me out. And then my biggest backer was Briscoe Kane, because I brought him everything in my court case, and he was like, "Good grief, this is nuts." But that's what he needed to find, is find the patterns and what's happening. So basically, it's like, if you do something against the government and want to hold the government accountable, you're going to get these risk protections on you. So my bill is that any agency that you state and local police to try to put a risk protection on you, they also get a felony charge. Any individual who tries to use a risk protection on you gets a felony charge. Everything that was done to me will be done to you. You will lose your kids. You will lose your guns. You will lose your voting rights. This is how teethy that came, is that pretty much we wrote everything that they tried to do to me will happen to you. And now that's law. You
better treat people how you want to be treated.
Exactly. You have a right to due process. This is you're guilty and you must prove yourself innocent, is what a risk protection is.
Yeah. So you were treated through your pregnancy in a porta potty. You gave birth. You didn't even know it. Then they tried to call you terrorist and called CPS. But the baby was still in the womb. And so CPS demanded the kid, but they didn't get her. And speaking of, I wanted to show one last picture, and I like this one. It's not gruesome like the leg injuries, but Chris, could you put up pic 4, please? So could you tell us a little bit about this one?
So like that one, a lot of people didn't believe I was in the military, and my husband took this picture of me. We have lost 4 children before her, because a lot of it had to do with the VA malpractice. So just to have this picture, memorialized, we got her. And no matter what, is that even the military were saying, well, you're probably not going to have kids as injured you are. And I did it. I got one. I'm done, but I got one.
One and done. Well, I'm so sorry that you lost 4 before, but you have Beatrice now. That's her name, right? Beatrice?
Yes.
I like that name. That's a good name. But you have her. And so just everything that you're doing now, I feel, is to protect her and keep her safe. And that's a very admirable reason for everything that you're doing.
It's her, but it's also because I still have a lot of veteran friends. Statistically, my friends, my close friends, I have a ton of them actually from the military. I should have lost one by now. And I haven't lost one yet. So I'm going to still keep going and working with our veteran community. But I don't think charities is where it's at. If y'all, the VA is the second largest bureaucracy, and the majority of disabled veterans do not use the VA. That's a slush fund. It's not working. Yeah. So I think we need to sit there and we need to go to the root. We need to go to Congress. We need to go to the Senate. We need to put pressure on our president that this is not acceptable, and stop skirting it. If we sit here and we fund all these charities with these billions of dollars, one, that's more strain on the American people, and 2, it enables a bad government. So we need to go headstrong, and start taking on our government where veteran issues are concerned, and that's my goal right now. We got it through the state.
Absolutely.
It's time to take it out federally.
So you mentioned to me prior to this whole interview that you went to the border. Can you tell me what you saw there?
Gosh, so we had these things called, well, again, the VA brought me to the border, we had these things called MMUs in the VA, and they're mobile medical units. That's what they stand for. And if you can, I know Congressman Mike Bose was the one who put it out there, and he's a Republican, by the way, just saying. They buried these articles now. You really can't find them. But they sent them out there, and they were treating illegals. And once I got out to the border, I was between between Quemado and Del Rio was the sector that we covered. And once we got there, we realized that we couldn't leave after what we saw. I know that the VA had shut down. They were putting the buses in the old VA building, because the reason they shut down the VA, I talked to the locals, is because the people were coming across the border and just seeing, a medical clinic, and going straight to the VA. So it was becoming dangerous. And you can go and talk to guys at the American Legion out in Eagle Pass about that. They'll tell you. So now all of our veterans on the border, they have to drive all the way to San Antonio, 3 hours away, to go get medical care because of what Biden did. And I tell you what, don't know. It's the amount that our president is saying now, we've secured the port. We've secured the ports of entry, yes. The cartel is going to still do what the cartel does. And the absolute horrendous mess of ultraviolence that is still there. It's heavily there. I've sit there and I've seen torsos just laying in the street. I've seen babies one messed me up. Newborn just left there.
Just alive
And
or like?
Well, by the time we got to it, the baby was dead.
Oh no.
You know, but there's no way. The trafficking on that level, we don't know how many kids are here because of that. You know, the people, they're still being trafficked. I was just meeting with R.W. Bray in Ted Cruz's office, and I had told him about one of the creek beds where the Brujas are, they consider themselves witches, and they're the witches of the cartel. I mean, a lot of the cartel is very, very heavily mixed with the, by the way. So there are sacrifices that are down there. And I was like, look, you were up in Del Rio. Did you stop by this? Go down to the bridge, go under. You will see like these skeletons, like epitaphs.
Oh my gosh.
Of sacrifices. You know, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And he was like, I had no idea. And we've been looking for that. I was like, that's because your CBP have, which is Customs and Border Patrol, they would have their cameras pointed at the sky. And they were on top of the
you're gonna catch a bird.
Yeah, they were on top of the bridge. I remember. So we were sitting here putting up new fencing because they always cut the fencing, and they plow through these people's property. They lose their cattle. They lose, you know, their livestock or goats. Mainly, it's just goats that they have out there. And you know, and I remember CBP would come around because I'm heavily armed. They would point their spotlights and guns at us. Like, the border's over there. Go point it over there. That's how you should do it. And
there's like a lot of people. I have friends that are Republicans, and they're young. Some of them are older, like adults I know that are Republican, and they think that just Trump and like this administration right now has just fixed everything, and at least in regards to the border. And they think that, you know, no one is coming over, and you know, we're gonna beat the cartel. And then
the cartel's not stupid. They're gonna wait these 4 years.
Yeah.
They're still gonna, they still know where they can go. They're very smart. Like, here's the thing, is that what they do here is you'll hear it at night. You'll hear the music from one side or the other into the other, and then they guide the boats over. Music kicks off, it's clear. And then from there, you'll hear the cowbells. They'll just ring them from one line to the other, and then you see the red and green lights. And that's how they know it's clear. And they'll send it out like it's the beacons of Gondor are lit. You know, that's how they send them, and they take them all the way to the I-10. I've watched it.
Holy jeez.
Like, no one has sat there and looked at this pattern yet. And, you know, when I talked to Ted Cruz's office, they had no idea. And that was last month, talking to them.
Yeah. No, this is... And Abbott could really do something about this, and he just doesn't.
Abbott has been told. We have sat there in teams, have told Abbott what's going on. He knows who we are, and he still denies us. And, you know, here's the thing, is that even Walter West was pretty pissed at him down in Del Rio, and he's SREC. And he's even had to lie low and play it cool because it's getting too dangerous in politics.
Yeah. I mean, it's just... These are people that, you know, when I went to a Trump rally a while back, like maybe 2 or 3 years before Trump got elected, Abbott rolled on stage and just everyone booed him. And some people couldn't figure out why. And it's because he's doing a horrible job. And I don't know why.
He's institutional. He didn't do a good job on the border. He didn't do a good job with COVID. And the fact is the bills that are being written, especially last session, that was pathetic. You know, you let these Democrats leave again, Abbott. This is the twice under your watch.
Yeah. I can't believe that when you went down to the border that you saw all these things, and they're doing sacrifices. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They just caught what's her name? La Diabla. And if you know what a red room is, go look it up. Some of you with weak stomachs don't look it up. She was head of the red rooms of the pregnant women, and they just caught her.
Oh, I think I know. It's the one that would go around and lure pregnant women in and
Hack them up. Yep.
yeah, force C-sections and then sell the newborns.
It's pretty bad what she did.
Oh.
And that's what a bruja is of that level. They here's the thing, I believe in Jesus. They don't scare the crap out of me on it. And we were heavily armed and in flat gear, so we were fine. It's
the incarnate of Satan. Oh my gosh.
I will say this, and our government did some really messed up stuff. I remember going to what's an MRC, Migrant Resource Center in San Antonio, 1700, San Felipe. And they came in and they would have the cartel would line up outside the MRC. We called it the Black Line. And the thing is that children are supposed to go to the Migrant Resource Center in Uvalde, but teenagers, they would let the teenage boys come to the regular MRC, and they wouldn't get them care. And that's the humanitarian crisis for it. These kids would tell me, "Oh, I came all the way from Venezuela. My parents were killed. And then I met these group of boys on the way, but then we lost this many group of boys on the way. And we just wanted to come here to have a better life." And, and they look over, we're not 18, so we can't get the cards. We can't get the bus tickets. We can't get the money. We can't go anywhere. They would literally have to, after 7 days, leave that MRC and go be picked up by the cartel. And I remember, I have it on video, two 15-year-olds. I gave them my food that night. And they cried because they didn't want to go, because they knew, well, we're not going to live very long. That's what they told me. And they got into the car and they left. And so some of how bad it was and what's there, the police, there were cop cars right there. And freaking, like, we had Sinaloa, we had the new, gosh, I don't even remember all the cartel names, all of them. It's very, very, very rare to get Sinaloa in our area on that, because Sinaloa is very California. But they were there because I saw their tattoos. And you can know them by their tattoos. The 21 clock, the White Lotus for Sinaloa. And everything is a mockery of scripture. So if you actually know your scripture and everything, you're going to know what they're going to do. Because I remember sitting there seeing something from Jeremiah tagged under a bridge. And I was like, okay, that's MS-13. You'll learn that. You'll learn the taggings, but just those two boys, I still dream about them because there's nothing I could do. Because once you touch a child, you can be charged with human trafficking yourself.
Oh. But they won't go after the people who are actually doing it.
No, they won't. Because here's the thing, is that they're in bed with the government.
Yeah. That's, I hate that. And
I have video of little girls being trafficked from that MRC. I have videos of that. And I can see their female handlers handing them off to these men. Nothing I can do. The only time I put my foot down, and I have a picture of it, was a 7-day-old American baby that they tried to traffic. I was done. You're not going after an American.
This is at this point, it doesn't even matter like what your nationality is. It needs to stop. But it makes someone feel so helpless because that it's the government, and this is the government doing it.
The building behind, and this is weird. This was for me. The building behind the San Antonio when that was that big rush, about 3 years ago around Christmas. I was there for that. the building where they were flying out the people, we had actually tracked that to the IDF. So why was the Israeli Defense Forces, who had contracted that building, sitting there flying out all these people? And then I got video of it, and they weren't mainly Mexican. There was a lot of white people in there, white girls.
Yeah.
So it was very upsetting and disturbing. But then when we caught videoing, and that's when San Antonio PD, what are you doing here? I was like, it's public area, bro.
Yeah. That's just, I feel like this has just opened my eyes a lot more, because, I mean, I knew it was still happening. I guess I didn't know how bad it was, especially, I've never seen it for myself, and God, I hope I never see it for myself. But also,
either. I don't want you to see it. But I think it's necessary.
I want to help these people so bad, and I just feel helpless because it's the government, and then the police officers, and there's good and bad in everything, but there's just,
that's what it is that we created such a humanitarian crisis that is going to affect, I would say, the next 3 to 5 generations.
Absolutely.
At that border, and to me, it's two wings on the same bird, Democrat, Republican alike. The absolute violence that was down there, and the violence towards children. There's no words that I could ever forgive you for that. And I'm a Christian, but I don't know how to forgive a government. I know how to forgive people, not a government. There's just no words or feelings that I could ever express for that.
I hate it so much, and there's it's just so much. Oh my goodness. So I think what we need mostly right now, more than anything, is God.
Yeah.
We need God in our government, and they've just completely tried to extract it. And then, Trump is saying, I'm a Christian, and then I look on the news and he's blowing out Diwali candles or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean,
yeah, it didn't make sense to me, because if you are a self-proclaiming Christian, you would not celebrate a false god, because that's what it is. And people are always like coming at me, and they're like, it's not a false god, and like, you're supposed to respect all religions. I'm like, no, I respect your right to religion. I'm not going to respect your religion when it involves, marrying a 9-year-old girl, or a man who was suicidal after an angel came to him. I'm not going to follow or respect that religion. I respect you and your right to religion, but people are insane with that.
Well, the thing is, Trump is a moderate, so I expect him to play as a moderate, and not with conservative values. I will not deny my God in respect to anyone else's, period. Okay, because I haven't seen it. Here's the thing, if you look at Christ-centered programs for veterans like Mighty Oaks, they have an 80% success rate. God's working. Okay, you can't tell me that. You hear veterans tell us all the time, I'm wrestling with my demons. I bet you they're real. You need Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just it. And we're seeing such a high number of your tier 1, tier 2 operators come to Christ. And I'm very proud of one representative, is Steve Toth, for taking that charge on that. And that, I think he's pretty weak, but for that one aspect is Christ-centered, Christ-focused, healing for our troops. He's spot on, and I'm glad that he's doing that.
Absolutely. So, just like lastly, I would like, the last things that I would want you to say is, if you had one piece of advice for younger generations to carry throughout their life, what would it be?
Thinking this new generation is, I think mental health is pushed. There's a mental health crisis in our generation. Is that, I had a very famous man. Not many people like him, but he was one of the best. He is the best Marine. His name is Mad Dog Mattis. Tell me that changed my life when I was in that wheelchair. He said, "You're just injured, but you're not broken." So whatever you're going through mental health wise, and in this changing environment, or don't let that brokenness become your character. And that's something I've had to deal with as a disabled veteran. That's not my character. Keep your focus on Jesus Christ. He walks before you in all things. Let him be the sounding of your character. Follow him.
I absolutely see that in you 100%.
So that's what my advice would be, because everyone's I get a lot of stuff with mental health lately, and I'm not a mental health specialist. I just say I believe in Jesus. Go.
Yeah.
The answer's in there. I know it.
All right, Kimberly, it's been so great having you on, and I'm so grateful I got to interview you and share your story, and you had so much information to share with everyone and to share with me. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, and I hope that everyone gets to see that God is in you and that God has carried you through these trials. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we...
No, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the network for having me. And, if you ever need me, I'm here.
Thank you so much. You've been such a great guest and veteran. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day coming up on the 11th. And thank you for your service as well, too.
Yeah, I'm going to be partying pretty hard on that day. I got a lot of friends coming over.
Like always, before we end, I'm going to read a quick Bible verse, and today's is John 1:14. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. We observed his glory as the one and only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. That Bible verse makes me think a lot about how God came down in the form of man to die for us. Jesus Christ was a perfect man, and we killed him. And it's just the God is the Word, and the Word is God. And in this verse, it says that we as Christians sorry, I'm like kind of fumbling a little bit, always at the end. Jesus, it's talking about Jesus in this Bible verse, and he lived a life full of grace and truth, and we as Christians should aspire to do the exact same. At least I do, and I try to get better, and I try to, every time I think I'm doing really good, I always get brought back down to earth and humbled really quickly. So that's fun. If you want to see some scripture-inspired art, go check out HisStory.com. You can donate, you can go see the podcast, and you can contact me if you have a story. Also, don't forget to check out Stiletto's website, StreetTalkNow.com. Again, Stiletto is a great person, and she's helping me, and she's helping you, and she's doing this for me for free, and it's not free for her, and some people don't realize that. And it's just, it would be really great if you could donate to a good person out of all the people. So don't forget to stick around till the end for Stiletto's outro as always, and have a good night and God bless.